Oh, look at all these people. AMR, don't know how to say your name. Amir, Jacques, Stuart, Jonas, David. What's up, y'all? So, I've been watching a lot of Cinematography Database a while ago, and he did some live streams, and I was like, dude, I just want to be Matt Workman when I grow up, because he's such a cool dude. How can I move the screen timeline 7 where I want the mouse? I don't know. Oh, here's timeline 7 stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, man, Matt does rule. You should tell Matt to like do a collaboration with me where he shoots something cool and I do color stuff. But yeah, if you guys have any like questions about Resolve, now would be a good time to ask them, because like I said, I'm just goofing around. Just got a pretty shot of amber to entice people. When you make the zoom, for zooming, it's the scroll wheel for me. If you want to zoom to frame it perfectly, it's Shift Z, and that brings it, perfectly framed. If you want to go pixel by pixel, it is Shift Alt Z. That's pixel for pixel, and you can see how out of focus I am. This is a raw file. This is a 4:1 compressed raw file from the Ursa Mini 4.6K. So if we want to do any goofy stuff, we can change this around. Go to clip. See, highlight recovery probably won't do anything because we're not really clipping, but I like that anyway. Color boost is goofy. I normally am not a fan of color boost, but I guess in this like sort of monochromatic of a scene, it works pretty well. It's a little bit much. But, we are just streaming away on YouTube, so, what the heck? Why not be goofy? And, tutorials are always just a little bit goofy in general. So, wow, 29 people. If there are 29 people in this room, it would be very crowded, let me tell you. Heck yeah, shout out to Davinci Resolve. I'm using the paid version because that's the reason why I bought my original Blackmagic Cinema camera. It's because I was like, it was $1,000 at the time for the full version, and I was just doing enough color grading stuff. So I was like, well, shoot, I bought my original Blackmagic Cinema camera for like $1,700. So I was like, well, shoot, I'll get an awesome camera for $700, and then the software, or I don't know. You understand what I'm saying. And now I've just randomly found 2 other Resolve Note dongles. I have no idea where I got them from. One definitely didn't come with the pocket camera, and I don't think one came with my 4.6K because I bought it used. Or maybe one did, but I bought a 4K before that, and it didn't come with one, but maybe it did. Oh, geez. What is the purpose of my stream? Just to test out streaming on this, because I bought a Blackmagic Ultra Studio SDI, and I was like, let's see if it works. And I know that, is there some buffering going on? What's happening there? Uh-oh. The little button's still green. Should you add noise reduction after the color correction or to the last node? That is a very good question. Technically, with the way Resolve works, it shouldn't matter, but I would probably add it at the beginning. Or, I don't know. Okay. There's some good things. Okay, I'm going to go through and answer some more questions. I didn't really give you a good answer on the noise reduction. The end is probably will always be safe. The beginning might be a little more efficient, but I think just do it at the end, because you want to do most of your stuff with it off anyway, because it's sort of a render hog. Do you like to use the camera raw settings or color correct, or do you go straight into Resolve to grade? I shoot in raw a lot, especially for stuff that time on set is really expensive, because then I can just white balance in post and have it be perfect, and I don't have to worry about taking an extra 10 seconds on set to scroll my white balance to be correct. And then also highlight recovery is great. It gives you an extra probably almost two-ish, I haven't measured it, but like 2-ish stops of dynamic range you get back. It's not really useful stuff, but it's nice to have, and I like having stuff to have. What paid features do you use? The free one has all I need. The free one, there's very few reasons really to get the paid version. Especially now, I just did a test, and like multiple GPUs don't really work very well on the paid version. I know that's one of the like benefits to it, but I just put a new card in my computer, a new graphics card. Fun fact, I've got a video in the computer. I've got to edit it and put it out, but I've been like doing actual work recently. But I just got to use Titan X. You can get them for like $550, which is a steal. I know it's like a lot of money, but that's a good return on investment in graphics card wise right now. So I put that in there. I wasn't really getting any better rendering. So then I went into Davinci Resolve, Preferences, Hardware Configuration. I disabled my other two GPUs, and it turns out that Resolve limits your memory to your smallest GPU or smallest whatever. So I was limited to 4 gigabytes of memory when I have 12 on the Titan. So I took my render from rendering at about 10.5 frames per second to about 33 frames per second. So if you have multiple different graphics cards, just disable the smaller ones and just use your bigger one, and it'll be a better result overall. The paid features that I use, noise reduction, of course. There's some fun effects in here. I've used the face refinement a little bit. I really want to do more remote grading stuff because that looks really, really cool. The biggest reason why I wanted the full version was for the multiple GPU thing, but now that I know that's kind of a little bit of snake oil, in my personal opinion, I'd say, spend the $300 on something else, unless you're like really in it to win it, color grading wise. But if you're just hanging out, I don't know. Okay, so that took a long time to answer that question. So now Alexander's question: Why do not people realize that a big part of orange teal is mixed color, temperature, lights enhanced in grading? My answer to most things are people are dumb. So people may not realize how to get orange teal because they don't understand that cameras just see light, and that's, you have to light for orange teal. Or people see it in a movie and they're like, that looks cool, I want my movie to look like that. And then they go and shoot at noon in a park and like, why doesn't this look like The Kingsman? It's like, shoot it right. All right. Could you quickly explain when to use parallel nodes again? I actually have a tutorial I recorded like a week and a half ago, and I meant to put up today. I meant to put up last Monday, and like it's on my computer. So just wait, because it's a really good tutorial. It's a really good tutorial that explains the differences between layer and parallel nodes. It's great. So Jonas, I promise, hopefully this stream will get me amped up enough. I've got something to do a little bit later, but really I just need to make a thumbnail and upload it. I really like making tutorials. I really hate doing the social part of uploading it and adding the description and trying to make it clickable without being like gross clickbait. You're like, you'll never believe how easy it is to get orange teal, but whatever. See, screw it. But that. Honestly, Adobe Premiere is better than Davinci. For editing, most definitely yes. For color, most definitely no. Premiere's color engine is kind of suck. I was helping a friend out with some renders. He was like, Theo, why are my shadows all blocky? And I was like, bring your bitrate up or whatever. It turns out it was Lumetri. It was just creating really blocky shadows. I did the exact same grade in Resolve, and it was nice and clean. So I'll basically only use color correction in Premiere if it's like just really simple gigs. Like interviews and talking head stuff, or just stuff that doesn't have the money to go into a professional color grading application. But I'm doing my best to take fewer and fewer of those jobs just because they're not worth the time at this point. It's mostly just for existing clients that are just like need something quick and whatever. I really should make an advanced tutorial for shot matching. Amir, can you spell your name phonetically? I've seen you around a bunch. I just need to know how to say it. Shot matching is super important, and I definitely should make a tutorial on it because that's sort of like any idiot can, make a crazy, cross-process hipster look like pretty easy. But like actually doing the technical, difficult part of color grading is actually difficult. But that's probably part of the reason why I haven't made the tutorial yet, is because it's like actually takes some thought. And now Game Z Base. I like that name. Should I invest in a GH5 or a Blackmagic Cinema camera 2.5K? I really enjoy grading and resolve, but I'm not sure which one to get. That, with any camera decision, it depends on what you're going for. I'd say the GH5 is probably a more versatile camera, but I'm streaming this right now on my Blackmagic 2.5K camera. And I love that camera so much. It's gotten me so much work. The only thing is the GH5 has some sort of slow-mo. I think GH5 does 4K. I mean, at this point, probably go with the GH5, honestly. Especially if you're in that price range. But you can also get the 2.5K camera for like pretty cheap online now on eBay. And it's so pretty. It's just such a good camera that it's just annoying to use. Yeah, I'd say go with the GH5. Unless you're just doing like a bunch of docu work or something where you just want a really pretty image and you don't need a bunch of bells and whistles. I started working 3 weeks ago. Alexander, I started working 3 weeks ago at a production company, and we use Final Cut X. It's a nightmare. Yeah, I tell you what, it's a nightmare. I got certified on Final Cut 7 back in the day, and then Final Cut 10 came out, and I was like, well, I'm glad I know Premiere because this is garbage. Any special sharpening techniques in Hollywood movies? It's crazy how sharp the image is in some of them. I mean, shoot on Panavision lenses. But no, there's some other sharpening things. You know, a big part of it is nice glass, nice cameras, low compression ratios, and an AC that knows how to pull focus. That's most of it. If you want like really stylized stuff, this is a fun one. This will look terrible in this shot probably. But this contrast pop I like a lot. It looks a lot like the Topaz filters for Photoshop, which is like a bunch of whatever. Is this stream looking okay for y'all? But you see it just gets you this really like gritty, you know, kind of a little bit gross, but it can be kind of cool look. Play around with contrast pop some. Because, you know, it can be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's pretty bad for this shot. But if you have something like really gnarly that you want to do, that's cool. I'm like super behind on the chat. Sorry, y'all. If Resolve could extrapolate keyframes from audio, that would help a lot in music editing. If you're going to be at that point of it, though, I mean, I'd say it's going to After Effects. I think, can Final Cut X do that? I'm not sure. Extrapolate keyframes from audio. Amber is not my girlfriend. She's some girl I worked with before. Just working with actual models is so much easier than using like friends. Just like, it's pretty inexpensive. They'll be better and they'll know what they're doing and all that other stuff. I agree. Flash forward films, log is not a look. I've seen so many commercials shot that are just like delivered in log C, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like that music video, I'm probably remembering it wrong. Whoops. YouTube. There we go. Hey, look at that. Miesner Media is live. It's this one. I mean, it's like add some contrast, but it's basically like log C. And I think that might just be like YouTube doing something on the copyright music. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of stuff going on, but I mean, it's still a pretty flat look. Yeah. And for a video called Good Time, it is sure desaturated. I think it should look more like that Bieber. I forgot which one it's called. It's probably, yeah, this one. It should look more like this one where it's just like, color. That was a fun little video. Okay. Yeah, David dropped some knowledge on the GH5. I'd say probably just go with GH5. I don't have a tangent wave. Is that, let me just Google it real quick. If that's a control surface, I don't really like control surfaces for several reasons. And I guess a live stream would be a good, yeah. So I don't really like control surfaces that much because, especially whenever I was doing like more like freelancey type stuff, I did a bunch of visual effects and things. Ooh, you can really hear this camera plate. I'd a lot of times go to other people's studios, and I still do occasionally, not as much, so I probably could get one. But it's also back from being an audio engineer is like my first what I did. And, you know, you get used to, you have to move like I think honestly audio engineers have a harder job than video guys, especially like in a studio setting. And like you have to be so fast. And if you're used to your control surface in audio, and then you go to another studio, because you do that a lot as an audio engineer, is you, especially like a young audio engineer like little Theo, you go there, if you're used to one control surface and you get on another one, you're like, what the heck, my buttons are in different places. But if you're just used to a keyboard and mouse, then you know you've always got your things there. And even still, I will bring like my keyboard and mouse in my bag whenever I go to other studios to work, just so I know that like everything is in the right place and I can work fast. Because, you know, whenever you're charging a bunch of money per hour, you got to show people they're getting their money's worth. All right. So it's Final Cut 10. Come on. It's iMovie Pro is what it is, Nigel. Haha. I've got a drum set in the other room. I've got drumsticks. Da-da. Ching. Nice. It's probably not even in the camera. All right. Trizzle 7. Oh, I'm glad that you appreciate the tutorials. They're a lot of fun. I think Film Convert has some neat looks in it. If you're looking for something like Film Convert, great. If you're wanting to, if you're like with a lot of things, like if you're not a professional colorist, I've seen people get, you know, nice looking things that people, that especially clients like a lot, and you don't have to do a lot of work, which is great. But whenever people pay me to color stuff, like I need to go in and I need to be able to dive real deep. But, you know, Philip Blue makes good stuff, so Film Convert. I'm not still in school. I went to school at Belmont in Nashville, Tennessee for audio engineering technology, and then I dropped out of Belmont because I was like, screw school. This is fun, but it's expensive, and I'm already making plenty of money. I had a couple full-time job offers, and I was like, well, I don't really need to do this. I had my own thing going, and I was like, I don't need a degree. I'm a pretty smart kid. But yeah, the school is a whole big topic. It just depends on what you're looking for. Met a bunch of people, good friends there. I didn't really meet many good clients there. I met the entrepreneurship fair at Belmont my sophomore year, I think, is I met one company, and then that sort of catapulted me into most of the people I know today. That, and then an internship I had, I met the lady who is in charge of interns there. Ooh, test message. The lady who is in charge of interns there, her husband was a photographer who knew a photographer that was building a studio, so I went and helped them out. Because if you know how to do manual labor, you'll meet a lot more people. Just BT dubs. And so that was, the guy who owned the studio is Michael Gomez, who owns Westlight Studios in Franklin, Tennessee. If you're in the Nashville area, it's great. Gomez is like the coolest guy in the entire world. I make fun of photographers a lot, but Gomez is like, if you put a camera on a tripod in front of like a bowl of fruit and I'll press a button and he'll press a button, his picture will be better. So, you know, he is a great guy. Introduced me to a lot of people. Let me use the studio a lot back then. I still shoot there occasionally. I'm missing a lot of these. Sorry. You can tell I'm not used to streaming much because I just sort of go off on a bit. 4K H.264 performance in Resolve 14 beta. Playback, it's probably fine. I haven't tested the rendering of H.264, but in my previous experience, Resolve doesn't really like, it makes bigger files that look worse. So I'll normally do like, I've been having a lot of really good luck with DNX HR. DNX HD HR HQ has got all sorts of stuff. It's in here somewhere. DNX, yeah, HRHQ. I've been really liking this codec as my intermediate because anytime I try and do Cineform, like Resolve crashes, which is my normal preferred, but DNX HRHQ has been good. You can do 4K and stuff. And then I'll just bring that into Media Encoder and I'll make any sort of different versions I need. All right, David, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your comments, etc. Oh, okay, timeline performance. Yeah, I don't really do a lot of like real-time playback stuff in Resolve. so I don't really know that much. I'll like color and then I'll track. And then that's sort of, I don't know. Yeah. Is it possible to make the contrast pop effect without the paid version? Probably not exactly. I know something I like doing a lot. It's that same sort of vibe. It's not as much control, but the midtone detail is a great tool. So bringing that way up, that's a similar thing. And then you've also got Sharpen over here. This looks pretty awful right now. And then if the Sharpen is in there, that's got a lot of the same controls as, look at how bad that looks as the contrast pop control. It's good. It gets a little bit grainy, a little bit gnarly, but you know, if that's what you're looking for, you know, obviously wouldn't use that on a shot of Amber because she's supposed to be like pretty and stuff. But all right, Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica. Hey-o. It's a cool place. There are like monkeys on a beach and it was very touristy. There are chickens on the road, tiny little roads, terrifying. Great. Good times in Costa Rica. So rock and roll. If you ever need anyone to come out to Costa Rica, you know, just give me a call. All right, Nigel made the good decision of, oh man, I'm just gonna miss a lot of questions here. How many postcards do I have? 0. Round tripping. Should I always do After Effects work before going into Resolve? I honestly like doing it the other way around. Doing my color stuff first because then my compositing is matching the color instead of trying to make your composite match the flat look and then you get into color and it's all sorts of weird. I know that like as a professional workflow, that's probably like, you know, big pipeline thing. That's probably not how you should do it. But I like to do After Effects, you know, basically as late as possible. Alexander's making fun of photographers also. I agree. But, you know, tips on matching different camera models. ACES. I also have a tutorial coming out about that soon. But like I said, I like making tutorials. I don't like posting and doing all the other stuff. So I guess that's what live streams are good for, right? What is the best setting for YouTube? Who knows? Who knows? What software to use? So Jason, I don't convert from H.264 to DNxHR. I go the other way. So out of Resolve, I go DNxHR and then into H.264. And I use Media Encoder for that because Media Encoder is a great little piece of software. Matching drone footage from DJI to an FS7 to Red. For those things, my biggest tip is it's harder to match drone footage to Reds than it is to match Reds to drone footage. So you sort of have to degrade your footage a little bit if you want them to match. So don't try and make your footage from like whatever, I'm just going to assume it's like a Phantom or something. So like whatever $100 camera they have on the bottom of that, try to make that match your $50,000+ camera. You're going to have to make your expensive camera look a little bit less good. And a lot of, I mean, because they really aren't that bad on the drones. I just have PTSD or something from them. But a lot of the thing is just the compression is really nasty on them and the sharpening. So you got to figure out a way to deal with that. And the blacks get a little bit crushed and you lose some detail in there. Al says that DaVinci Resolve 14 Beta 9 has Cineform support now. That's better. I'll have to test that out because I like Cineform a lot. It's great. So thank you very much, Al. I appreciate that tip. Dave, hello from Colorado. Hello from Nashville, Tennessee. Colorado's beautiful. I bet it's super nice now too. It's like just starting to get in that time. Yeah. Sean, I have my PC specs. Can I like add a video here? They're not like super specific, but you know, whatever. I have a video about my setup. Let me find them real quick. I'll figure out how to use YouTube. Bring it over here so you can like semi see what I'm doing. Videos, search, setup. Yeah, look at that. Hopefully we don't get nice. Look at that. That's where I am now. Look at that. I have a tutorial on how to create LUTs, Richard. Just like go to my video page and type in LUTs. It's probably in this one. Oh, there you go. Davinci Resolve tutorial saving LUTs. So, I mean, you don't even need to watch the tutorial. I'm sorry. That's probably rude. You can just go to clips. Let me just do something here. Look at how great this LUT is. Yeah. Then generate 3D LUT, and then you just save it wherever you want. So that's how you make a LUT. Now you know. Look at how messy my tutorial project is. Norfolk nonsense. A different grading approach for H.264 compared to ProRes/RAW files. Yeah, you can't. It's less of an approach and more of just like something to keep in mind is like, I know that if I have like beautiful RAW files like this, I can really like change things around a bunch and it'll still hold up. But if I have, 8-bit highly compressed files, I'm going to be able to add a little bit of look, but I'm not going to be able to fix too much. And you have to be a lot more liberal with, or a lot more cautious with your qualifiers and keys because you'll get those really blocky artifacts that'll create those, just nastinesses in your key. Felipe? I bet that's it. Sorry, I can't words or names. How to best manage editing in Premiere and grading in Resolve. I do, so I'll edit in Premiere and I'll export in XML and I'll color that in Resolve. And then if I have a bunch of like effects and stuff like trendy zoom, whatever, then I'll render them as individual clips out of Resolve and then bring the XML from Resolve back in Premiere. And then I'll apply my effects and my stabilization and my stuff like that. So what trips up a lot of people is they try to do their effects and stuff on their first edit, which helps with like the creativity, but then, some of them don't get transferred to Resolve when you color. So I'll edit and then I'll color and then I'll VFX, which I realize is sort of an unconventional, a little bit irresponsible workflow, but that's, if you're just one person working on it, then it's probably better for me. Or if you got like not a big team working on it, like if you got like really heavy VFX stuff, you got to send them off, then they're probably not going to get colored files. They'll probably get like a daily from the set, and that's probably what they're working off of. And then the colorist will probably get, mattes and all sorts of stuff, and who can do a little more of the compositing. But, I'm not doing $100 million things. I'm making really good stuff for high value, etc. Massive dump on Labor Day. Good comment. What's the toughest part for me while correcting and grading? Trying to remember not to go too far, or realizing that some shots don't need a lot. Like that's my biggest problem with this shot is it doesn't really need a lot. It's sort of telling the story it wants to tell right now. I think I added some color in the raw. But I might like reduce the midtone detail a little bit to smooth out these wrinkles just a bit, and then maybe add just like some sharpening there, and then you just do a little bit of cooling down our shadows like we would normally do, low range. That's a little bit much, I mean obviously, but sort of bringing something else out there. Maybe even not, would you keep it monochromatic color scheme, and just sort of desaturate some stuff that doesn't need to be saturated. So luminance versus saturation, and just sort of cleaning it up a little bit, making it a little bit more fashionable, maybe adding a little bit of contrast, but you're trying to not do too much. I'm trying to get better at that too, because especially as budgets go up, like the actual need to relight every shot goes down because like you're getting good footage in. Hi Massa. What about speed grade for grading? Does it still exist? Is my question. I thought that they got rid of it. I liked speed grade until they put Lumetri in, and then I was like, well, this is just speed grade. I'd rather fly 2000. Same. We all here to turn off detail sharpening in camera. Do you usually add it in post, or do you find yourself adding the same amount of sharpening each time? Pretty much. So especially if I'm just doing stuff in Premiere, I'll basically just default the sharpening to between 14 and 20 in Lumetri. And that's sort of my sweet spot. And that's mostly for 1080 stuff. You can probably stick around that same thing with 4K. Yeah, I probably stick around that same thing with 4K. You know, just play around. If it looks bad, make it less. If it could look better, make it more. Do I use a broadcast reference monitor at all? I haven't for a long time, just because I know the way that this monitor right here looks really well because I've watched so much stuff on it. But, you know, I want to do more HDR stuff, so I'm going to upgrade to a fancier monitor, which is part of the reason why I got the Ultra Studio that I'm streaming on now, so I could have that as my sort of main output. But that's a very good question, Nigel. A lot of people ask me about reference monitors, and you know, you don't need to go out and spend $10,000 on a monitor to get started grading. Just watch it, calibrate your displays, obviously. So you know, I've calibrated the displays. These ones have kind of gone out of sync, but I've been better about this one because this is the one that I really look at everything on, and these ones are kind of like not. I mean, they're like where I put media and stuff. But this is the one where like most of the work gets done. So calibrate your display and then just watch a bunch of stuff on it so you know how it sounds. It's just like with audio, knowing your monitors. If you've mixed on Rockets your whole life and then you go to, you know, A77Xs, you'll probably do a better job on your Rockets for a while just because you know how they sound. Do I supervise other people's projects as a job as well? A little bit. I do a little bit of visual effects supervision. It's a lot of times wrapped up in whenever I'm DPing, I'll bill myself as a director of imaging since I do have like a visual effects and a really, really heavy post-production background, so I can help people through those problems. So that's what I'm doing later tonight is there's a meeting and we're going to go and we're going to work stuff out and say, all right, so we want X and Y to look like this. So here's the gear we need. Here's what we need to think about lighting wise. Here's the stuff we need to pull. Here's what we need to tell our actors. Here's how much time we need. This is possible. This is not possible. This is semi-possible. If we do it this way, it might work a little better. This is stupid. This we don't have room for. This we don't have the budget for, etc. And I really like doing that stuff because I'm definitely more of like a conceptual type guy where I really like the grindy. You know, I'm sure if you've seen my like tutorials, you know, I really like the sort of more technical stuff of going really deep. What is the best way to market yourself as a colorist? Besides making YouTube tutorials, having another job or like another thing that you do that's a little bit more visible. I mean, Instagram's probably good. I'm a really terrible marketer, but I just, you know, send out a color reel to some directors that I work with. And I'm like, hey, by the way, you know, oh, good. I fixed my dad's computer. Awesome. Let me send him a text real quick. So yeah, marketing yourself as a colorist. Yeah, like most of the work that I get, like I said, is like director of imaging work and then a lot of post-production stuff. I'm moving more into like a supervisory position post-production wise. That's sort of the goal of the next 18 months is to get Miesner Media as less Theo Miesner and more of, you know, people working on stuff. Because I have enough reoccurring clients with like pretty easy stuff that pays pretty well that I could pay, you know, a less experienced editor, you know, X number of dollars per hour, and then I could still make however much on top of that just by, I will tell my dad that you said hi, Sean. But yeah, so where was I? Guess I was rambling. I lost my train of thought. Herman, I do kind of want to do more live streams just because I do enjoy other people so much. That's sort of why I started making tutorials. This is one of the reasons why I started is because I watched so many tutorials, especially in college. I didn't do any socializing in college, hardly at all. I just watched tutorials all day, which is part of the reason why I dropped out. It's because I was like, you know, I can learn all this stuff online for free, faster and easier and better without any of the hassle. Do I do any round tripping to other software? If yes, how do I do it? Oh, most definitely. Less so now, but especially whenever I was like Wonder Boy in college doing like all the visual effects stuff, I'd be, you know, Premiere into After Effects into PF track, back into After Effects, then out to Cinema 4D, into Real. It's just, it was a lot of fun. That was, workflow was definitely something that I sort of got off on in college, and you maybe did a little bit more crazy stuff than I would. But nowadays it's mostly just XMLs in between stuff. It's nothing really too fancy. And then for visual effects, camera tracking and After Effects, and then used to be into Cinema 4D. Part of the reason why I've been posting as much recently is I've been learning Blender, because I got some gigs coming up that need some more 3D stuff. I'm like really excited about. And I was like, well, I should get back into 3D some. But I didn't feel like goodness, where was I going with this? Yeah, I didn't feel like buying the new Cinema 4D because I still have R14 or something from back in college. And it's like $3,500 or something for the full version, and you gotta get the full version. And Blender is, especially with 2.79 and the principled shader, is like really pretty good now. Like you can just do a little bit of work on top of it. It's like a pretty, especially animation nodes. I just figured out earlier that was sort of my biggest thing, because that's basically actually probably a more powerful version of Cinema 4D's MoGraph. I'm not sure if I already answered this, but I don't really do anything in Fusion at all. I've opened it up a few times and played around, and some of the particle stuff is cool, but I don't really do much. Kaylee, tell Brandon and Brian I say, hey, what's up? We should work together. Whatever. What do you do, Kaylee? What can you help me with? Sorry to sound selfish, but Brandon and Brian are cool dudes. If you guys are watching, what's up? How have you been? How is, I don't know, etc. Alexander, Sennheiser lav mics piss me off. Probably the same for me. They're always really hissing, especially when compressed. Oh man, I prefer shotgun mics or DPA. I don't know what DPA is, but I'm all about shotgun mics. I will tell you why. One, they generally sound better. Two is my biggest reason is in Nashville, I do a lot of work with like PR companies and managers and stuff. So we'll do press days with big artists, and I'll have them coming in and out. If you've got to put a lav mic on every artist you come through, that's going to take up a lot of time, and B, it's just like really awkward for the artist. The old pros have done it, but they still sort of don't like, grubby little 25-year-old, like, I'm going to put this up your shirt, or I want you to put this up your shirt for you. If they can just come in and sit down, they've all been, I've gotten the comment many times is like I'm one of the easiest like press guys they've had to work with. And those are super easy gigs. If you're in college and you can get those, because those take no skill basically. It's just like knowing how to not make any mistakes at all. But with these really simple setups, just make it look good and commercial, and just make sure that nothing goes wrong at all. And that's it. But it's not really any like creative stuff that you need like a ton of experience to know, like etc. Sean, do you think Blackmagic will become as big as Area Red in terms of dominant Hollywood cameras? Not Hollywood for a while, just because of like the UI stuff, but in terms of picture quality, I can definitely make my Ursa Mini 4.6K look as good as any movie on TV or out right now, especially if I put good glass in front of it. Easily, no problem. The only things you would need is like workflow improvements or ergonomics improvements, or just reliability. Do I work with proxies a lot? Hardly any. I have to now, shooting raw with the Ursa Mini 4.6K some, and that I have a tutorial on it. Just bring them into Resolve, and then it's a pretty easy little workflow. Who are some of my favorite tutorial creators? Andrew Kramer definitely is like the guy. Nick Campbell, love Nick Campbell for Cinema 4D stuff. Ryan Connolly. Ryan Connolly's like the only person I've ever been starstruck by. I've worked with like all these big country artists or whatever, and it's just like whatever they're people. But I was in Edley's getting barbecue in Nashville one time. I just got back from shooting, so it was like a friend, and I was like, shoot, I think that's Ryan Connolly. And my friend was like, who's that? I was like, I think that's Ryan Connolly from Film Right. Oh my gosh, what do we do? I didn't say anything to him. I've been really into, Blender Guru. Like I said, I've just been doing a bunch of Blender stuff recently because I'm preparing for some of these big things coming up. Who's this guy? I've been watching a lot of whoever this guy is. He's really cool. But sort of Andrew Kramer and Nick Campbell I probably have the most hours in. The Mount MoGraph guy, I want to watch more of. I don't know his name, but he's got some really great After Effects tutorials. Denver Riddle's a cool guy. I talked to him some when I was first getting started, or whenever I was like picking up steam here, and he's cool, and like we talked about some stuff. Kaylee, oh, tell Dwayne I say hey. Dwayne's a cool dude. You just work with everyone. I'm sure we'll run into each other eventually, Kaylee. It'll be cool. How can I export ProRes on PC? That is a very good question. It is a big old pain in the butt. Use a combination of FFmpeg and another GUI, and it's sort of hokey and scary and inconsistent and command liney, or just buy the cheapest Macintosh you can find on the internet and load a copy of Adobe Media Encoder in it, and then just send your projects in Cineform or DNxHR over to that, and then just transcode from there. That's what I do. I got a old like white clamshell MacBook laptop, and I put an SSD in it, and I connect it to the network, and I made a render folder, and that will export ProRes for me now whenever I need it. And it's like a little bit slow, but if you're bringing it nice files like Cineform and stuff, it's not that slow. So that's how I export ProRes. But I did do the FFmpeg route for a while, but I was just never really comfortable with that, especially for like real world broadcast stuff, because those guys are pretty unwavering in their deliveries. Suggestions for learning color grading fundamentals. MiesnerMedia.com or YouTube.com/MiesnerMedia, obviously. No, I don't really have a lot of experience with that. The best resource that I found is honestly the manual. If you're a masochist, it's actually a really good manual. It's long, but it's got great pictures. It's got great explanations. There's a little bit of personality in there occasionally, which is nice. So in college, I just took out the manual and I just read through it. I went to the Student Commons Center at Vanderbilt. Even though I went to Belmont, I spent a lot of time at Vanderbilt just hanging out because it was a cooler campus. And I just would sit there for like, an hour or two a day and just read through it. It's 800 pages, but it's got, or it was at the time, it's longer now, I'm sure. But it's pretty easy. It's like big font and lots of pictures. And, you can skip through like some of the stuff you don't care about, like film scanning and stuff. But yeah. And then, like I said, I worked with Denver Riddle some. I know he's got a really comprehensive course, and he's a really knowledgeable guy. Thank you, Jonas. I think that this is a very cool cup. I got it at a Goodwill. I was like, shoot, I got to have that. But it's just water in here because I'm a pretty boring person. Thoughts on the FS700 with the Atomos recorder? I like the FS700 a whole lot. I think it's a great camera. I think it's a lot of fun to use. But if you're thinking about buying a new camera, there are other cameras at that same price point that are better now. But if it's something you already own, it's awesome. It can do everything. So good choice. I've only shot 1 or 2 projects on it, but I really enjoyed my time with it when I had it. What type of setup do I use for data backup? I charge clients and then buy additional drives. So I've got, I'm going to change around my whole storage thing soon anyway, so I shouldn't really talk about it too much. But so I've got my main workstation, and that's got, I'm moving less and less, but it has a working RAID array on there now that's like reasonably fast, and a boot drive that's separate from that, a boot RAID array that's separate from that, and then it's connected via 10 gigabit Ethernet, which will be upgraded to like a 20 gigabit pipe soon, and that goes to a really huge RAID array, which is most of my data storage for everyday stuff. And then I'll do for anything that I want, I just got, another RAID 1 array that I'll have and, just do whatever with for stuff I really need. And then whenever I'll charge an archival fee to clients. I'll say, you know, if you want me to keep this for more than the 60 days, then it's X number of dollars, you know, per terabyte, and then per year. So if you want me to keep it around for another year, it's X amount of dollars. So yeah, that's how I handle data backup. It's not super sexy, but it's great. It works. It works. You know, whatever. Sean has an Ursa Mini 4.6K. Sometimes I found blacks look magenta because of the IR pollution even without ND filter. Do you fix that in grade or use IR cut filter if you ever had the problem? I'll just fix it in the grade. I'm too lazy to do it any other way. I haven't really had much problem with that. I'll normally desaturate my shadows a lot like you see here, so that'll get rid of a bunch of it there. And I normally shoot a little bit over on that camera. Exposure on that camera is a little bit funny because you can't really, it's not really pretty over and it's not really pretty under, but it's prettier over than it is under. So I'll normally over just a little bit. Zach, I'm glad you like the live stream. I like doing it. It's fun. It makes me feel important. And, you know, feeling important is always good. It's also a good time waste. Actually, I can cross this off my to-do list, can't I? Ooh, is the audio still okay? Hopefully. The mic cord on this, fixing that is also on my to-do list. Ultra Studio. Mic cord is right next to that. So I've only got a little bit of stuff left to do. I've got change my Blender startup file, get 1.5 minutes through a video that I'm editing. It's like a 5-minute video. It's just super boring, so I'm just powering through it. I'm about a minute through it now, so I just got a little bit more to do before this evening. I'm gonna do a 1-a-day render in Blender to practice, and then fix the mic cord. And those, oh, and then the meeting tonight, but that's pretty casual. So I'll put that on here. Also, good productivity tip: wrap your pencil in Velcro, and then just always have it on your desk ready to go. So, Thea's productivity tip of the day. All right, some new stuff. I like the FS700 ergonomics R brick. I shot on the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 2.5K for several years, so don't talk to me about bad ergonomics, Zach. Or Alexander. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, just rig your camera out. I think that cameras should focus less on ergonomics and more on being good cameras, and then you just put a rig around it, and then you can make however you want. With my Ursa Mini 4.6K, I actually ripped the screen off of it and replaced it. So I shot a video on that. I'm not done with it because I'm trying to source some cables to make it like a better mod. But yeah, I'm very much into just make your camera work for you, especially whenever, because I'm probably never going to spend $50,000 on a camera. So I know I'm going to have to do a little bit of work just because it's not worth it. You can spend $50,000 on like some really good steaks. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Will I make a video on media storage? I'll probably shoot one. I'm not sure if I'll put it out. I shoot a lot more stuff than I put out, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that. I want to do paid work instead, or just go sail. Or detailed breakdown of building / upgrading your PC tower for color work. I've shot some of that too. Just haven't put it out. I promise I make a lot of tutorials, just don't put a lot up. Do you have audio issues with Resolve 14? Everyone does, yeah. But I don't do any audio stuff in Resolve 14. So it doesn't really bother me. Whenever everything does get sorted out with it, I will probably make a tutorial of like, for like an indie artist, like here's how you record and shoot and edit a music video all in Davinci Resolve, you know, for $0 plus, you know, the cost of renting a camera for like, you know, $100 or whatever. So I think that'll be cool. Sean wants to see the modded Ursa. Okay. I mean, just hold on a second. It's so jank right now. It's so jank, but you know, it'll be better. I just got to find a manufacturer because it's really weird, like 50-pin proprietary cable that links the monitor to the camera, but it's this one bundle. I thought it was going to be this ridiculous, like, I mean, it is 3 ribbon cables, but I thought they'd go straight into the camera. But there's no reason why Blackmagic couldn't have spent the extra, you know, $10 on the camera to make it a extra. I'll get the camera. All right. So, well, man, this stream is way behind. So here it's in pretty like stripped down mode right now because I was recording a tutorial on ACES with this on a tripod and just got back from traveling, so I didn't re-rig it back up. But here is the monitor. You can see stripped it off, and this it's just this one cable. I haven't. Hopefully this is in. Now this is definitely in frame. Hopefully, so it's just this one cable. It's a 50-pin cable that's only using like 39 pins. So that's what makes me think that it's not proprietary. So I should be able to find. Sorry, this is probably a little bit quiet, but so they should. It's just this one cable. They should just be able to make this run through here. Put a bracket on this guy, and then make this cable 8 inches longer. And then you can put it wherever you want and put it here so your AC can do it. And then you can put your own nicer monitor here so you can look at it. So you should be able to move this monitor over to this side of the camera so your AC can look at that and change your settings and pull your focus. And then you can have a nicer monitor over here via your SDI that you can look at. So Blackmagic, that's what you should do. I emailed you and you wouldn't give me the name of the cable, and I'm mad about that. And then another mod that I made to it is a pretty little mod. I recorded a thing for this too and also didn't put it out, but I put the XLR inputs on the side. So I just made these really flush XLR connectors to go up in here, and then you can put top rails all the way back. And then I can mount a separate battery plate because they don't make any, I can't find any good battery plates that I like that go like on there natively. So I think those are the only mods that I've made to it so far. I'm going to modify this little cage thing so that these rails can go all the way through. So I need to find, if you know anyone in Nashville, Tennessee, with a milling machine, I need that. I should give my AC a better monitor. He can have both, but I want him to be able to change, he or she. This is an all-inclusive whatever channel, but I'm fine to give him two. He'd have that one to change my settings, because if I want to say, do this one slow-mo or whatever, I want that to be his job, and I can concentrate on talking to the director or doing whatever. If I want to format cards, or probably not format cards, but change record settings or white balance or resolution or especially inputting metadata, I would love that. And then I can also give him a nice monitor. I can split off from mine. He can have that too. Or, I could have the second AC doing that stuff, and then the first AC could be off with the wireless doing something else. I think that would just be a much better workflow. It'd be like some of what they tried to do with the big, ridiculous Ursa. It would just be better. Do I still grade in Davinci? I mean, yeah. Yeah. Everyone would love to see a recreation of film convert LUTs. Everything what is in a LUT or a film convert can be done by grading resolve. So I would love to see reconvert. I mean, I don't have film convert, so I don't. I mean, there are some LUTs in the new LUT pack that I still haven't released that are sort of emulating what I think of when I think of film convert. So it's these fill-up ones. Sounds pretty subtle. Because Philip Bloom, but because he always uses film convert. So that's a little bit bright. I'm not finding any good ones. This footage is not the footage I should use for this. Yeah. I will go find a more neutral shot. Something like this would be a good one for it. All right. Control Y, reset all grades and nodes. 3D LUT, Swiss LUTs, fill up. I need to get a copy of Denver's like LUT previewer thing. I've been meaning to reach out to him to get a copy to review. But yeah, stuff like that. It's whatever. I thought there were some different ones. Could I turn my mic volume up? That's probably, oh no, we're done with that. Yeah, I can. I'll probably do that in OBS. Yeah, I could stand to have that a little bit higher. How's that feeling? Is that good? Or actually, I think my gain might just be, yeah, my gain's all the way down. Well, so this is probably getting nice and steamy in here. How we looking? It's still not even touching the compressor, but yeah. How about, yeah, that's just barely touching the compressor. So that's probably a little healthier. Thanks, Tony, for pointing that out. All right, so it's looking good. How long have we been streaming for? Almost an hour. So probably in an hour. Jeez Louise, been just talking to the internet for an hour. That's fun. Yeah, so probably whenever we hit about an hour, I'll vamos, because there's still a little bit I need to do. But, you know. Do I have resources for looks and styles and inspiration? I mean, yeah, Davinci should have fixed the LUT thing, but like I said, Color Grading Central, Denver Riddle has a thing. I haven't tested it yet, but LUT gallery, yeah. But I'm guessing, I mean, I can't believe I didn't come up with this idea. Because it's such a great idea. Good job, Denver. So yeah, that's taking forever to load. It's probably stream, or it's just, you know, stuff goes wrong on stream. But anyway, that's it. This project file, Zach, is just the one I put tutorial stuff in. Because I don't want to use like real projects anymore, because like people watch the things. So that's also one of the limiting factors of making tutorials. It's like I want to go out and shoot stuff for that, so I know that people are cool with it, especially since I make fun of, or I feel like I make fun of stuff a lot. Especially like I'll say that footage looks bad. If I get footage from someone else, I don't want to say that their footage looks bad, because that's mean, even if it does. I thought that Denver already released it. I'm pretty sure it's available. I don't know why that's not working, but I'm pretty sure it's available. And like I said, maybe I'll add the to-do. Maybe I'll add to the to-do list. Email Denver. There you go. It's done. I'll email him and see if I can get a review copy. Even if I can't get a review copy, I'll probably just end up buying it. You heard it here first. I'll watch some of his videos, but from what it looks like it's really smart. And it's something that I know a lot of people on my channel have wanted. So the fact that it already exists potentially is really good. You're right, Sean. Blackmagic should hire me to help them with their camera stuff. But they won't, because I'm too much of a goob. Okay, Color Grading Central isn't coming up for you either. That's good, you know. I probably won't contact Denver because he already knows. But he's probably doing something important. He's a smart guy. I am not used to talking for an hour at a time. This is weird. My throat's all sore. I need to get something. Yeah, Zach, it's also not working for him. Well, I'm glad it's not me, I guess. I'm sorry that it's Denver. But yeah, I mean, while we're here, do whatever. Do whatever. Tony, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad that it works, you know, so well like the first time. No one's complained about anything, I don't think, except for the one little audio boop, which is super easy to fix, and it was my fault. I was recording with a buddy the other day because I got a new thing, and I was like, hey man, we should make some stuff. And yeah, so, oh man, I need a nap after this. Jeez Louise, talking for an hour is hard work. See my pop production's fixed. Does it sound bad? I mean, I agree that it's like all over the place. I need to get a better one. But being that I normally use this for like